only game show that's 3 dimensions away from Robocop crossing over with the Terminator. I'm your host, 3DJ, and today we're looking at Robocop Rogue City, released in 2023. Robocop Rogue City is developed by Tylon, who developed Terminator Resistance. The game is essentially a first person shooter in a hub world environment that makes you follow a story, an open, kind of an openish side quest storyline, in a sense of think of it like Terminator Resistance, but with more Jedi Fallen Order style roaming. That is the best way I can describe it. Like essentially, you're essentially doing like it's not an open world game, but it's essentially like not hub worlds, but I would say the maps are about the same size of like I would say they're a little bit smaller than Fallen Order, but they're like bigger than the Terminator. Like if that makes any sense. Like you're essentially going around and exploring crimes that are there, and so it's like that type of game. I do like this game. This game is essentially a sequel to RoboCop 1 and 2, and essentially the Peter Weller and I believe Nancy Allen reprised their roles from the first two movies as Alex Murphy and his partner. And so basically they're cops, and I'm sorry, but I forgot her name. And so they're basically cops that go around, like solving, like you have to solve crimes, or you have to go and just like a tank and just shoot up a place and everything and kill all the drug dealers. And the game heavily follows RoboCop 2, where like there's a drug nuke, and so basically there's a new bad guys that are out there, and and it's the villains are kind of like the villains from the first movie, but with a remix of the villain from the second movie. And also there is like the new there's a corporation, the OCP, and of course you got the police station, you got all these iconic locations. The OCP's there, and you have this, and they have this news station at the beginning. And I like how it does start out like the first two movies, where it's a news broadcast. And I do respect that it does that, because it feels like you're watching the third RoboCop movie in a way. And Peter Weller is great as voicing Alex Murphy, and it feels like it does feel like you're essentially getting the third RoboCop movie you wanted. If I know some people don't like RoboCop 2, but like RoboCop 2 is a fun movie. I've only seen it a couple of times. Like I really love RoboCop 1. I've only seen 2 a couple of times, and the first time so I didn't like it. But then as I rewatched it, like I rewatched it before I played the game, and I really enjoyed it. And I said it has a lot of action. I think this is where it focuses on when it comes to the game. Is it has a lot of action, and it has a lot of nods to that film as well as the first film. Nuke is a heavy influence in the game. And so, there's even lots of Easter eggs and detail and attention to detail. We were walking and like, oh my God, that's an Easter egg from the first movie. That's an Easter egg from the second movie. Like, I would recommend watching the first 2 movies before you play this game, because it is heavily referenced with Easter eggs. Some you won't even get until you like. If I wouldn't have watched, I would not have got to half the references. But then I watched the first 2 movies over, and I'm like, oh my God, I got the reference. Oh my God. That beat is from the movie, from the scene in the movie. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I'm not gonna spoil the story for you, but the villain in the story does something really cool that I really liked in the movie, in the game. And there's also some really cool skins in the game, like from like the skins like they have if you bought the deluxe edition, like the Alex Murphy edition, which is what I did. You'll get like the RoboCop 2 skin, which is kind of more like bluish, like it's more bluish, like really shiny blue. And also they have damaged RoboCop as well. And or if you just want, also got like a nice gun to go with it, but if you want the traditional RoboCop look, you can do that too. There is some like morality kind of choices where when you're caught with a citizen, you can be like you can protect, serve the public interest, or you can basically serve like the police's best interest and just like issue a citation. Like there's a drug dealer where if you basically issue him a ticket or something, that could come back to bite you in the ass. Or there's a person spraying graffiti that they can turn back on you, turn the whole city against you, and it's actually really cool. I've been trying to be the nicest RoboCop possible, because I feel like I've always felt like Alex Murphy is him, like he's gaining his at the end of the first movie. He was Alex Murphy. I feel like he's more Alex Murphy now than he is RoboCop, and I feel like that's where it should be in the third movie. And so I've tried to play it like that, like it's Alex Murphy. Now, if you're a bad person, I'm going to give you a ticket. Like, cause I like going around just giving, because you can go around when you're exploring the city. Like for instance, like you start off on this map. The cities are kind of like like maps. Okay, so for instance, you go on a location where you're like, okay, you're in Detroit, downtown Detroit. Okay, well, you're essentially when they drop you down here, okay, you walk over here and you put the ticket, and there's like a ticket, you issue a ticket, and then you can go around and do like, there's like 3 or 4 side quests you can do. And the map, I got lost on the map a couple of times. Like I had to look on the map, like, you know, the screen, like, okay, that's over here, okay, all right, over here, all right. And I didn't even complete, I completed, like, I got 90. Like, they can give you a score of how your policing is. So essentially, if you don't do the quest right, they'll essentially, like, okay, B plus, okay, C plus, or you had to go in this hostage situation in slow motion and shoot all these bad guys and not kill any, let hostages die, so B plus. And I'm like, oh man, you know, and essentially like that. So I'm like, you know. And of course there's, like, you know, there's dialogue choices where you can do, and I like that. The gameplay, it's mostly just a looter shooter. Like, for instance, you go in there, you shoot some people, you can collect some health and stuff and heal yourself. You know, it's like this little, like, syringe kind of thing where you go up there and you basically heal yourself. And, you know, I choose the easiest setting as possible because I'm a little bitch about it when I play video games. So I just go in there and I shoot up the place, and I'm just, like, rolling like a tank, you know, and it's really fun. You know, the story is pretty good. I really like the story. I thought it worked well as a unofficial third Robocop movie. I thought that was pretty well done. Peter Weller's still fantastic as Robocop. It just feels like a love letter to the franchise. Like, I will say, I kept wondering why they kept pushing it. Maybe it's a bad game. No, this game is actually really fun. It's actually a really great game. Also, I got this cool OCP shotgun because I bought the deluxe edition. So I was just gunning it down, like gunning like criminals down, you know, just like rolling like a tank, you know. And also, the game kind of reminds me a little bit of if you ever played Max Payne back on the PS2, it reminds me of that game a lot. Like, this game has every time I'm playing the game, I'm like, this reminds me of Max Payne for some reason. Like, I'm just sitting there playing this game going, this reminds me of Max Payne. Like, it just has a big Max Payne feel to this game. I don't know why, it just does. You know, and that's how I just kept thinking about it every time I was playing the game. I'm like, this reminds me of Max Payne. Like, just some of the gameplay, combat, certain situations remind me of Max Payne. I also like that, you know, you know, you have, like, the maps are big enough to where you can go around and explore a little bit of the city and stuff. And I do like, you know, how some of the gameplay, I will say there are some nitpicks I do have with the game. For instance, some of the stuff, there are some issues, like where you're sitting there walking on a puddle, and then the graphics rate where it's like, you know, it'll basically be blurry, and then it'll go clean, and it'll be blurry, like, so frame rate keeps dropping. Or, like, for instance, there are people watching a TV, and you can hear the TV, but when you look at the TV, there's nothing there except for it's a turned off TV. And I'm just like, yeah, that's an issue. And I'm like, and also, I was like, and when I also, like, one time the game dropped on me when I was in a certain level. I was like, you know, I was doing this mission while I'm down there in this basement place, and I'm walking, all of a sudden the game drops on me, and I'm like, shit. You know, and then also, like, when there's a sequence where Alex Murphy's talking to somebody going, I feel like gosh, and, you know, and I'm like, that to me, that's a cutscene that was kind of messed up. So there's a few issues that I think that could fix. I mean, it's not like game breaking, but, you know, and the game dropped only once on me. But, like, those are some issues I experienced playing the game. I do really like this game. I kind of wish you could have been third person, because I feel like, why do you have skins if you're not gonna be able to see your skin? You know, that to me. And also, there is no ray tracing in the game, because I walked over a puddle and looked down, and I'm like, I don't see nothing. You know, but I do like, and every time you walk, it feels like you're walking like Robocop, and I like that, and I like the authentic feel, and the game feels like a love letter to the Robocop fans. If I had to give this game a score, I would give it a solid score of a 8.7 out of 10. Thank you so much.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.